talking,
yeah,
training stuff you want to.
yes,
And you know how you're feeling about all those choices that we identified yesterday.
These choices.
I know.
Yeah,
That's the curse of the middle class life. Choice. Apparently, depression goes directly in hand with choice. Like the people who have the most choice in their lives are most likely to be depressed. The poverty-stricken classes of India don't really feel depression because they're just too busy struggling with actually putting food on a table or finding a table.
Yes, they look so vibrant.
Yeah,
really alive. Yeah.
Anyway.
I was thinking on coming on the bus. If we would have energy for it, how would you feel about doing 3 hours?
Today?
Yes.
I can't.
You can't.
I don't think so. I want to pick up Tilly at 3:30.
Right. 3:30 is 2:30 or 3:30?
3:30.
3:30.
And then we have this concert tomorrow. I don't think I can. Sorry. I would have the energy, of course. But I think my energy has to go into actually making sure this concert tomorrow is going to be alright as well, because that's quite a big deal, etc.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So we could do 2 hours just teaching, playing book 5 stuff.
Yeah.
We could do some of it talking more. I feel like we've touched on the book 1 approach of this, but I'm not really confident that you would know exactly how to start your experiment if you have decided that you want to.
Yeah.
I'm aware that we haven't ever talked about sight reading, and maybe we should, while we're going to do a big rejig of your book 1 teaching, if you are, that would be a good time to do that too, because otherwise you just get your head around one thing and then something else pops up.
Yeah.
And you know, all that stuff about 3, 4, 5-year-olds taking more lessons, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
How much of that you want to continue to talk about?
About that, I thought, since I will not teach them till the end of this term, if that could wait, or at least part of it could, if we can touch on it just a bit today, and talk on about that when we are in Bryanston.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah?
And Bryanston is a good place to talk about that too, because
Brilliant.
there's lots of different people that you can chat to without paying them. There's all that. Yeah. So that's totally fine.
Good. And
yes.
My main concern at the moment is that I have some technical questions about book 5.
Yep.
And I saw your students, they play Becker, and I want you please to tell me how I'm not secure about
that. Okay.
And that's the same for the farmers dance.
Happy Farmer?
Country dance.
Country dance.
Country
okay,
dance.
yes.
It's the same.
So maybe what we should do is maybe spend the first bit of time, because it's easier to get carried away with the playing part and run out of time. So maybe first what we should do is a more kind of classic teacher training thing of going through the development of the right arm.
Yeah.
And pick out the pieces in the first 5 books, or the first 4 books that take us to book 5.
Right.
And the studies and the scales and the blah.
Yeah.
To get you there.
Yeah.
Because that's going to involve a lot of kind of going back and looking through how you develop it from the start, and that all ties back into all of this stuff that we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And then we could just go through whichever pieces in book 5 you want to go through in the second hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And at some point I'll have to eat something. I just got my report for the London Suzuki Group trustees in at 8 minutes to 1 in the cafe, and I was like, Coutier's going to be on my doorstep. I have to go. Send.
Send.
So, okay, good. Oh, my shoulder is really bad today.
Are you tuned 441?
No, I think the truth of it is I quite like 440 and a half. But
I have 441. Let me see.
Yeah,
Hang on.
see?
Let me do this.
I'll come up to you. The rest of your string's fine?
I think I'm fine. Maybe a little bit higher. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Very nice to see you again.
And you.
So, let's just review the stuff about the bow on.
Yeah.
Book one stuff. How about long ago? Please.
Let me first check this.
Yeah.
Like this. My thumb is low,
Yeah.
off the bow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a helium balloon
Mm-hmm.
there, meaning it doesn't
Yeah.
sag.
But you have the squashiness in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And I remember teachers doing this. First you put it on the E string and then you move to there. And can I do just a few strokes
Yeah,
on the
of
open
course.
A?
A little
More.
heavier in the elbow. There you
It's a very active thumb.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to play tonalization before you play long ago?
From the string. From inside the string, or how do you call it?
From in the string.
From in the string.
In the string. Sharp.
Which one?
The G.
The
Yeah. Very nice. Lovely. How did it feel?
scary.
Because you were worried about the crunch?
because I was worried about the intonation.
Okay.
And so I have avoided these things for years.
Yeah.
Most of my Suzuki life.
Okay.
Because because playing it you're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, she can.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's,
so go slowly. Don't be worried about adjusting.
Yeah.
If you think that there is more resonance to be had by moving your third finger a tiny bit lower,
yeah.
do it. If you're wrong, go back.
Right.
Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Listen for the open sound of the violin when you're perfectly in tune. And treat it as an exercise. So it's... Don't be worried to do a bit again. And then for the open string resonance, you can do the double stop version. To stop and play the G. Also look, it's much harder on this G than on this G to see the G resonating, but you can still see it.
Yeah.
So you're looking and listening. Practice teaching to the priority with yourself as well. It's very easy to think, oh yeah, but that's for the kids, just focusing on the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a grown-up, I can do everything at once, and you can't. You'll be just as overwhelmed as your children will be.
Right, yeah.
So you think, okay, I'm doing it this time for intonation,
Mm-hmm.
and this time I'm going to do it for the bow stroke. And don't sweat it. If it's your intonation is now so good that even when it's not perfectly in tune, it's still in the box. I haven't heard you play any notes, I don't think, this whole trip that aren't somewhere in the box. It's just whether they are exactly in the place in the box that you want or not. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah, just set your priority before you start. And I think this is another thing that you can do with the good kids once they don't have one thing that needs fixing. Like Kai. Well, no, Kai is working on his bow hold, but like a good all-rounder, where they're not perfect, but there's nothing really sticking out. Like, maybe Lois. That kind of kid.
Yeah.
Okay, this review piece, we're going to really make sure that your violin position is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, this review piece, you're going to really check that your bow holder's doing it right. So in one practice, they can concentrate on many different things, but separately.
Yeah.
And then when you feel that they're really ready, you say, okay, well, this piece, an easy one, we're going to try and put it all together, and can you just do a constant check of if you're doing everything the way that you want to do it. But that's got to be like a super easy piece.
Yeah.
Judas Maccabeus for a book 4 or 5 child.
Right.
Not like a few pieces back.
No.
Cool?
Yeah.
Good. One more go. In fact, let's do book 2 version. No, let's do minuet 1 more time before then. So when you have your up bows, we're just going to focus on the pinch for the clarity.
Yeah.
And the scoop for the depth.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
You are touching this part. When I talk to my students about the thumb, I touched this part.
No, I don't think that matters.
No?
Well, it's the same joint.
But there's a muscle going from the thumb to there, which makes you like feel this.
Okay, you win.
Okay.
I just want them to feel a heavy arm.
Yeah.
You know, this whole bit, that band.
Yeah.
I'm not. If I'm this side of them, I would say, you know.
Yeah.
And if they were playing in the air or something.
You go there, and you might as well touch the other side.
Yeah.
It's
Food
just elbow.
for thought. So find your balance on the string. You don't look like it would be very difficult to take that off. No, it's not even on. So when you find your balance in the string, there should be a contact already. Just release that. That's it.
Now it will make a squishy sound. No, not.
How these things improve without really even any, you know, I don't know if you've done focused practice on many.
I did.
You did, but you know, in like
this
3 days, it's great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I would just practice, let's just do a G major we call it a minuet twinkle. I don't know if you do as well. What I noticed about your up-ups when you played just then was the first one was perfectly scoopy and the second one went along.
Uh-huh.
So maybe even before we just do that. Okay, so let's find the string. Just unhook that a tiny bit more.
I'm so used to my normal way of playing.
Of course. Draw the circle with this for me.
A circle, meaning
semicircle.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. So this is too much, obviously.
Yeah.
But just hold my elbow. I felt the first time. Circle action, the first down bow, perfect, and then it was from here.
Yeah.
That there is a bobbing. The resonance was amazing though. We didn't have the clarity which is here, but the tone was gorgeous.
I have to find that.
We're going too fast. We're going too fast. Hold the string. Scoop. Hold the string. Scoop.
It's still. I still feel I'm doing it from the hands.
That's better. And then it's crunching because you're still doing the same amount of work here, which means you have double the depth now.
I understand.
Oh, that second one was really good. Yeah.
It's it. I'm traveling.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. The slowest one to develop true mastery of will be being stopped on the string wherever you are, and with good contact but no sound. That this is what, you know when you hear those kids who play witches dance like that? And it's just not a clean stop, or they go, and it's all just very much on the top of the string. And this, that control is I have noticed in the students I've taken on from other people, which includes Limamu, not Lois, Kai, Francesca, that if they haven't had that staccato in the string training, it's really hard to fix in not in reverse, but after, you know, later. Yeah. And so so don't be mean to yourself if it takes a while. And also that with the students, you know, the ones who haven't hit Minuet 1 yet, those are the ones that will get it most easily, because you can take them from the start. And with the ones who are already on Long Long Ago, or Witch's Dance, or Book 3, if you feel that you want to change that with them, very small steps, a little bit at a time. You know, it's like a 2-year job. I mean, with Limamu, who's extremely committed student. You know the kid I mean from group?
I don't know him. No.
The mixed race. He has curly hair. I'll show you because I have the video. Yes, because you weren't there for the whole group. In the back row, there were the 3 boys. One is Kai, who you saw the lesson. One is Fraser, the big boy that looks like a girl. And the other one, Limamu, who's dark-skinned.
I think
that's him. Anyway, he's an extremely, you know, dedicated student, and I took him on in, I think, Book 2, and he had this inability to stop in the string, and it's still sometimes you can still tell, and he's in the end of the last piece in Book 4.
Right.
And that would have been like 4 years ago that I took him on, something like that. So, you know. So it's a really good one to focus on from before they start. Okay, so do you want to take notes in terms of which pieces you would pull out for this, or do you want to just get it off the video? I'm aware that up until I was having lessons with Suzanne, I was always like, you have the video, you can just pull it off there, and then actually when you listen back, you know, if you just want to find a piece of information from the video, it's very, very difficult to find where it is on the video.
It takes a lot of time. Especially when you have very limited time to practice. And often I choose for my practice. Yeah, exactly. And then... And you have to watch the video to take notes before you watch it to learn anything new, blah, blah, blah. That's so in terms of... Would you like a pen? I have hundreds.
Wow, yes. You want to see my pencil case, that will make you laugh.
You have a very little one,
I
don't
know,
you?
yeah. I'll just get it, actually.
It's very ladylike. Ah, so distinct.
Keeps the mind concentrated.
Yes.
So in terms of developing the deep tone on single bows, just up and down and up, whatever, we are really kind of doing that right from the start, as you saw with Lola and Inessa. So then they don't really, it's kind of the opposite in terms of learning, that they don't actually really learn how to play that Baroque stroke that you have so wonderfully until Book 4, by which time it's very easy for them, because it's just like, play along the top of the string with a fast bow. Oh yes, you know, to learn from deep in the string with all that extra control you need, and then lighten it into a more Baroque stroke is very easy, whereas to go obviously
the other way around.
Baroque is much more complicated.
Yeah.
And so I guess if we were going to be very particular about the development of that, you can think about at which point the pieces require a longer bow stroke with that deep tone. But I mean, really, you know, it's fairly self-explanatory, I think. Do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I agree.
And so then, really, it's once you have this hooking bow stroke.
What's a hooking?
2 in a row with a stop between them, 2 in the same direction.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of like your textbook perfect answers for a teacher training exam, they would say, at what point are you introducing the very first concept of up bow staccato? And you would say, which piece of Book 1?
Staccato, meaning where the bow stops. That would be twinkle. Dun, 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 dun.
No, 2 bows in the same direction in a bow.
Two bows in the same direction, Minuet 1. We have Earlier?
Much earlier. This is yes, exactly. A horrible trick question because it's not really. But I mean, it is, you know, it is a useful one if you have a student who really can't do it and you want to be very thorough. To practice and stop with that contact.
Yeah.
Slightly tricky to take off. Rather than, you know, with them could possibly still be making sound and not really a proper stop in between.
Yeah.
It can be useful for kids that really need every single step filled in. But yes, for most kids that you are taking back from, say, witches dance to cover the ground that they need to relearn to develop that skill, Minuet 1 would be the place.
Yeah.
And so a Minuet Twinkle is obviously the most useful tune for them to play.
Yeah.
And then Minuet 1 and also Minuet 2. But that tends to not be used because it's got so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it has fewer of them. Then what?
Minuet 3.
Yeah. But sort of the same, like the slurs are the real event, so,
yeah.
You know. And because it's exactly the same bow stroke, you can pick which minuet you want to study.
And then, same kind of stroke?
Anything that is two bows in the same direction with a stop between them.
Happy farmer.
Exactly, yeah. And that has the added technical requirement of different bow speeds. Oh. Yeah, this is slowed and then faster. And also that there's staccato in between. If you teach it like that and you want them to play that in the string,
yeah,
rather than... That is the first time that they've had that in the middle of a piece. So perpetual motion. So allegro is the first really staccato. Well, May song is a bit of an anomaly because in Europe, well, in this part of Europe,
yeah.
we play... But even on the CD... How does it get played in Holland?
I'm playing it like... Well, now differently, of course.
So the same as here.
Yeah.
So if you so you have for down up in the string staccato, you have obviously many of the twinkles.
Yeah.
And then Song of the Wind, and then those two notes which are further apart in May some slower beats, and then allegro where you would require a faster bow speed but essentially the same stroke. You don't need to write this all down. This is pretty, you know, I can see that this is nothing new. And then obviously perpetual motion, allegretto, and they all have a slightly different version of that same thing. But when you get to the Happy Farmer, it's the string crossing is much more tricky than all of the rest of them apart from etude, and it's in the middle of all this other stuff. So if there is a slight weakness in their ability to play with that in the string staccato, it will show up there, even if it hadn't shown up in etude.
Wow.
Because they've just been thinking about the bows in the different directions, and they're thinking about the much more tricky memory and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then going into book 2. Oh, just before you do, a very quick word about Gosset Gavotte. Some teachers teach it like this. I find it very cumbersome like that. I don't like to listen to it like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very musical.
Yeah.
And if I'm happy that they've done all of that staccato through all those other pieces we just talked about, perfectly fine, I explain to them that I consider it to be more a leggero stroke than a staccato marcato type stroke, and therefore they will play lightly you can't play it that fast. You just can't get your fingers around it. And then they can play it really fast.
Yeah.
So.
I have a question. I'm not certain if I can play the staccato of perpetual motion and etude.
Okay.
Just I'm. Could you check it?
Of course. Feel free to drink some of your tea.
Oh yes, that's a good idea.
Getting colder. So, slowly, let's do perpetual motion. Much nicer piece, I reckon. Release that elbow. There you go. Dum, bum, bum, bum.
Now it's squeaking. When I use my own hands.
So do you hear in the second version that the beginning sounds sort of staggered slightly?
Yes.
And that is because your arm and your hand are not quite coordinated fully.
Right.
Or you're only using your arm, which is the big muscles, to control something that needs to be much more minutely controlled.
Yeah.
So the first version was perfect, apart from it was a bit scratchy, which is just with practice and exploring that relationship between how much elbow you need, how much hand you need to find the ringing sound.
Okay. Good.
Perfect.
Good. Wonderful.
Do you want to just play a bit of etude? There is a bit of movement sideways.
No, because I have a lazy eye. Yeah.
What can I say?
Nothing.
What about the other one?
The other one is fine, but
yeah. So come on.
Then. It's still. Oh God! I get vertigo from it.
Oh dear! I don't want you falling over.
I might fall over.
Oh, that's so
anyway.
much better.
Really?
Yeah.
You only need to tell me, and then.
Oh, did you see the travelling?
No.
Okay. So if you find it tricky to see, and lots of kids find it very uncomfortable to look this close.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, and they don't like to do it.
Yeah.
And so then, have you seen the thing with the pencils?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can do that, and if you can find the right strength of rubber band or whatever, you can actually, get to the stage where you can manoeuvre it quite, minutely to be exactly where you want to be.
Yeah.
And then that will just give you a physical barrier if you hit it.
Let me try for a moment if I can do it without my glasses. I see much better. I do.
Much better.
Yes.
And of course, with anything that we are looking at, you just want to bear in mind that that's the stage to train your arm and your body how to remember it without looking.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to listen to your arm so that you can reproduce the feeling, so then you can stop looking.
Yes.
Otherwise, when you need to look at the music or the sky or whatever, you can't.
Yeah. Good.
So, so going into book 2 for up bow staccato.
Hunter's
Yep. There aren't actually that many.
Is the beginning then?
Yeah, but that would count as separate bow staccato. Yeah. But there are a few hooks. they're separate. So there's one there. There might only be one. There is one here, but it has a rest in between, so it doesn't really count.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Then long ago.
Yeah, and that is the key. Like, this is the piece that I pull out from my book 5 students. I wouldn't bother to go all the way back to Minuet 1, but you know,
Yes.
with Kai, if he had been having a problem with his spiccato,
Yeah.
when it was on the string,
Yeah.
this would be the one. And this is the one that I come back to teach, you know, lifted. The first time they're doing that. And when you do that, you need to be very clear on the difference between standing spiccato and, what is it called? Something like dropped spiccato. I don't know, you never give it its proper technical name, but standing spiccato from the string, which means that you play, you know, like here, the first time you actually raise your bow is after the first spiccato note.
Yeah.
Whereas, not there, well, for instance, if you went back and played Gossek with spiccato, you are out of the string when you start.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
to be careful that they understand that it's not.
Like this?
Yeah, more lift on that G. Not there.
That one?
That one. Nope.
No.
Exactly. And the
Yeah.
first time they're getting ready for this is obviously
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that it's
Yeah,
just at the
sure.
end of the A. It's not before the A.
Yeah.
Okay. So so to go back to in the string, you will really hear if they're skidding around.
Yeah. Can I try a bit?
Yes, please do. Would you like to stand up?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting.
I'm finding you are really testing my powers of focusing on the task in hand with your head position.
It's
So combination of, at this stage, still elbow and hand. Scoop, scoop. Very good. So when you get faster, you lose the elbow scoop mostly, and that's just because of the speed.
Yeah.
Like when we're playing proper spiccato, like spiccato, you can't involve the elbow at all because it's from here.
yeah.
So
Okay.
so if you're practicing the scooping like Minuet 1, I guess how fast can I get? That fast, maximum. Because if you go, it's probably going to lift and it's just a hand.
Yeah.
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 Good. And then?
Long ago.
The
Looking at
test
us,
to see if all of your careful planning and preparation has worked. If it has worked, they just play it. If it hasn't worked, you have to go back.
Boré.
Mm-mm.
Not Walsh. What's after Grenadiers? How's Grenadiers again?
Do, 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 do.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it?
Yeah. It's not the big test, it's the sort of preparatory test for which starts.
For which starts.
But let's play. So, all of my bow stroking, all of that time is in. And by the way, talking about closing this gap is a helpful way to actually give them something concrete to check if they're gripping the string or not.
What do you mean by closing
this
the gap?
gap?
Yeah.
You cannot grip the string unless you close that gap a bit.
Yeah. And that is right in the beginning, you mean? Like when they
Mostly I just say hug your bow,
yeah.
give your bow a hug, or grip the string, or make sure you're controlling that bow. Yeah. But sometimes I have had kids that just want something like you're like, okay, can you just make sure that your stick is nearer your hair?
Yeah.
Especially if they're very literal, like if they have autism, for instance.
Yeah.
I was telling the guys about going to that place yesterday with that woman. That was so funny. And I was like, that is like going into the deaf society of the person. Yeah. Like, what? Can you talk a bit louder? Anyway.
Yeah, she's very unfriendly.
You just have to hope for her sake that she does actually have autism and it's not just being unfriendly, because it seemed perfectly possible that it was just poor customer service.
Maybe, okay, no, I'm not going to talk. We start like this high up the bow.
I do.
What do I do?
It's a whole crotchet. Yeah. And that is one of your lovely, along the top of the string, resonant notes, but we are changing to in. Yep, that's much better.
It's the Batman stroke. It's called the Batman stroke.
Batman. Or Batman.
Batman.
Right, okay. Oh, wait, now. Okay, off you go. Nope. Okay, pop a balloon here. No.
Pop a balloon.
Okay, I'm not going to use my 6,000 pound bow. Here's the balloon.
Sorry.
As you play. And my balloon is just squashed very slightly. Yes. But then of course it needs... That's it.
One more time.
Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. I have to get it in order.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so let's just listen to each note, because really it's only this first phrase and then you have it for the whole song.
Yeah.
So we have sorted out this note. What note is this like?
What do you mean, what note is that like?
From a different piece.
Okay.
But, well, I mean, I guess that's a bit slower anyway. Or somewhere in between those two. So. So these three notes, very similar. And then, totally different. Very good. More elbow in. So circular in towards you.
And it's staying there or not now? And then?
Then it drops, yeah.
Then it drops, even further. I have to make space for that. One more time.
Okay, so with the balloon, let me just sort out how I'm explaining it. That once you come up to the heel, it releases. Otherwise you will have this feeling. And I think this would be a good thing to do just lots of times at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so see if you can find that feeling in your up bow. Let's play the A. Did it fit? Just get the string before you play. Ooh. Did you feel the circle?
It's coming.
Yeah. So then when you heard that crunch around here, that's when you can release the... Better? How do you feel? That was a long. Have we got the first C? We've had some second Cs, but you know enough to go home and you're not confused about which one is right and which one is not.
When I look back at the video, I will be less confused.
Okay, if you get confused again...
It takes time.
Yes, of course, yeah.
This, yeah.
If you get confused again, this exercise is what will make your elbow feel... And you can do the in-between step, which is that, yeah? And that's the thing about the release, is that if you're going to go a circle, obviously this is the part where you start coming back up again.
Yeah.
And whereas if you just... That's when you get stuck.
That doesn't work.
Trying to come in this way.
Yeah.
And you can also literally do it in front of a mirror and watch here. Does that space get smaller? There you go.
Yeah.
Nope. Let's just do 10, and I don't want you to try and get everyone right, but you just tell me if it was right or not afterwards.
I don't know.
That's what I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just turn to the reflection because it will do. So it's this space here.
Yeah.
Play for me. So that changed a bit. And then do a straight one. And you can see this just goes up that way.
Yeah. So I do this one. Yeah.
So the 3 stages, and maybe you want to write these down so you don't have to struggle to find them on the video, are the up bow air circles.
Three stages in the beginning of grenadiers. That's what you mean by 3 stages, or something in general.
Yeah, more general. For up bow, for deep up bow bows. Deep up bow circle action, it gets called.
For deep up bow circle action. 1.
Circles in the air from the tip. Make sure you are drawing your so you're drawing your circles with the tip of the bow, the heel of the bow, and the elbow. The same circle.
Yeah.
And then find the balance on the string with the contact. Up bow. Don't worry about the quality of the land, that's fine. But make sure that you are settled and in the string before you start, and then thinking here.
Yeah.
That wasn't a very good one, I apologise.
Yeah.
Yeah? And that's the bit that you might have to go to and from a few times. And that's where the mirror will help if you're not sure if your arm is doing the right thing.
How would you word that? Find.
So find the contact on the A at the tip.
Yeah.
And think about, obviously you can't because the string's in the way, but think of trying to draw that same circle with the tip, the heel and the elbow again. And don't worry about the land.
Don't worry about the landing part, yeah.
So you can't really do it in rhythm. Dong, dong, dong,
No.
dong. So if you want to get a rhythm, you have to have it in 3 really. Play, land, set. Play, land. Well, not land on the second beat, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself time before you play again. Otherwise it will just become this.
Yeah. Yeah. Be careful, Kate. You're very close.
I'm trying to...
Just imagine.
Yes. Thank you.
And there is a third
and the
stage.
third one. Down, up, or up, down. So it's the same as this.
Yeah.
But you stop it. And then to save yourself going like this, you might as well just do it down both. So down, up in the string.
With stopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the preparatory test as to whether it's all gone very well. And then Witch's Dance is the big test. And if Witch's Dance is going well, or all of that has gone well, you will have in the string excellent clarity, and then no problem with this either, because they have, or you have, for the kids it's more difficult, but practice those and it's basically the same but slower.
Yeah.
So with most of my kids, what I find is they can do this fine, and then we get and so the thing we have to learn as this new thing in Witch's Dance is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Isn't that stroke there already in Andantino? Ta-da-dum, 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 bam.
Yeah. I don't tend to teach it really in Andantino. I find they can't really do it.
Yeah.
It really slows them down. I don't really care. I think it's a very advanced thing to do. And what I find is that they play or, and I just think pragmatism.
Yeah.
Right, okay, we're nearly there. So then, going back to up bow staccato. So now we've done 2 up bows evenly, slowly, minute 1. 2 up bows faster, evenly, in long, long ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've learnt how to do a quick and then a slow, or a slow and then a quick up in the 2 Grenadiers. We've perfected that in Witch's Dance. And now the next step will be, would you like me to tell you or do you want to work it out?
Look at Mignon. Beethoven. Beethoven. Yeah.
Exactly. And that is the first time that I feel we're really getting ready for up bow spiccato. Because the rest of them is just up bow staccato.
Yes.
And this is the first place where, you know, it's much more closely related because there are more notes in the up bow. So it becomes from here and not, you know,
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So, my elbow is doing nothing. It's this.
Only hand, no elbow.
Really, yeah. I mean, the elbow is as if it's just playing long notes.
I lost my notes.
Why don't we play? That was a good one. Keep going. Or you can just do it on D if you don't want to play Twinkle. How much would you say you are aware of pinching?
Quite a bit, but it feels a bit tense.
That's better.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just need to do it slower until we can perfect it.
Yeah.
This is a helpful exercise for the kids. Relaxed arm,
Squeeze,
relaxed elbow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and from this side you can really see, if you can see, what's going on there.
I can see.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mine's doing the same.
Yeah. And the clarity, if they are trying to use their, if they've had a lot of which at that point they can make sound quite clear. Because there's just enough stop to use the big muscles, but there's nothing happening here.
Mm-hmm.
That then turns into, there's just not enough time when you play it up to speed for the elbow to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
so that's it. When it gets quicker, it moves lower.
Yeah.
Effectively, it moves towards the end.
Yeah. But if you're teaching it from both at the beginning, you can just change the ratio rather than to actually stop using the elbow and start using the hand. So when we were doing this, that thing of gripping the string in between, have you got the string, is the hand.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing this, which is very clear when that's happening.
Yeah.
And so a kid who can play minuet 1 like that doesn't have to learn anything new to play. They just have to develop what they can already do. Whereas a kid who plays minuet 1 like this which is very nice, but it's just starting and stopping, there's no depth.
Yeah.
Or the depth but no control from the hand has to learn a totally new skill.
Yeah.
To do the right
Yes.
up-bow staccato.
Yeah, I understand.
And it's amazing how quickly they can play that if they have done all those bits before in the right way. And then at the very end, much more complicated fingering and string crossing to make.
You use very little bow.
Because if you give them too much bow, it will be from the elbow and it will be slow.
Yeah.
And then when you say, can you go faster, it'll just slur.
Yeah. So you would use for this you would use something like this.
Yeah, about half the bow in the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to just try the trio again? So a little slow, but not led by the elbow.
I was not pinching.
I was going to say, I see nothing happening there.
I was quicker.
Just ask you something.
Yes.
Your thumb is quite straight.
Huh?
When you are pinching, do you feel that it is that way? Or literally pinching the stick that way?
This way. The last one.
Oh, good. Well, that's what I want you to feel, but I can't. Okay. Maybe just experiment with bending it a little more. This is the other thing I do a lot with the kids. Okay. So you want to pinch there too?
Yeah.
For the down bow?
No.
You do.
Do I
yeah,
really?
Yeah. To match the sound. Otherwise you go along, in, along, in, yeah. Beautiful. Gold star.
Gold star.
Very good.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
Book 3.
It's like starting all over again. Yeah.
That's why we were doing it first, because otherwise we'd still be in book 5 and we wouldn't have time for it. But book 3, for development of the same thing.
Bum, bum, dum.
Yeah, but that's the minuet bowing.
Yeah.
So.
I'm missing. Oh, minuet.
Yeah, then we literally have the minuet bowing in the minuet.
Yeah.
But that's nothing new, obviously.
No. Humoresque.
Haven't we missed a piece? Martini. Minuet. Gavotte in G minor. Nothing there.
It's not there. No. Oh, Becker. Yeah.
Becca. Yeah. Which, again, if they're not playing review, really shows, because they've forgotten all of this minute detail about their fingers.
Yes.
If you haven't heard any minuet in G,
Yeah.
and they haven't been practicing it at home, or they've been practicing it in the wrong way, they can get to Becca, and suddenly even a kid who was playing very nicely goes...
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, this needs explaining because of how it looks written.
Yeah.
But really, if they can play, and they've been reviewing that, it's not a massive step, whereas often it feels very difficult, and that's where, if your review has fallen down,
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
That's where they get into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, and that's why for us, graduation is so helpful, because at about mid book 3 normally, for their top piece, they are doing graduation on minuet and G.
Right.
And so when they get to Becca, they're like, oh yeah, I just did this a month ago or something. Not like, oh wow, I haven't done arpe staccato for a year.
Yeah.
You know, because it really is absent in all of the rest of the pieces, apart from slow crotchets. Well, moderato crotchets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else in that book?
Go for D major.
Nothing there. Nothing there.
No.
And then we're in book 4.
Yeah.
Nothing in sites 1. Nothing in sites 2. Nothing in sites 3. Nothing in Vivaldi A minor. Nothing in Vivaldi A minor. Nothing in perpetual motion. Nothing in Bach double. And then book 5, suddenly, this massive change. Slow movement fine. Vivaldi concerto, very tricky, but not in this particular way. And then country dance. Oh my God! Like Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
That is a massive, massive jump.
Yeah.
And so for me, one of the things I'm teaching in book 4, which is why they find spiccato so easy by book 5, is spiccato outside of all the repertoire.
Okay.
Well, not using the repertoire, but outside of the pieces that they are learning in book 4.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just like we're also playing like...
Yeah.
So they can really get a loose wrist ahead of perpetual motion, otherwise they really struggle with that type of spiccato. We are also playing, okay, let's play, you know... or long. And they really love to play spiccato, arpe spiccato when they get there.
Yeah.
So we just do a little game every few weeks in group that has that lifted stroke, and then when they get there, they can all do arpe spiccato without too much problem. Because otherwise, and then you have a choice. I mean, the whole of the Birmingham teacher training course is training our teachers to play, which is country dance on the string.
Yeah.
English to me than a dance. But, you know, and I said to Heather, who is, you know, I love dearly, well then where do you do up bow spiccato?
Yeah.
Well, there isn't really a clear answer, is there?
No.
I mean, you know, the end books of Suzuki, if we discount 9 and 10 because they're Mozart and we're not really going to, I don't really consider them to be part of, they're like the culmination and I think they come too soon. I would teach a whole bunch of other concertos before I teach Mozart. In fact, I don't think I would ever teach, well, I'd never say never, but I haven't ever so far taught a teenager Mozart because I don't want to listen to that. I'd much rather listen to Mendelssohn played by a teenager than Mozart. Anyway, so if we kind of consider up to book 8, and do you know the repertoire in 6, 7 and 8? Or not really? So there's basically, it kind of just really spreads thin on this development of new techniques.
Yeah.
There are fewer to learn, but also it's kind of as if the thinking behind it is like, right, well, we're there now, they can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have one piece which shows you can play really like hardcore spiccato, like country dance.
Yeah.
And then the next time that you would have to play that is in something like Saint-Saëns.
Yeah.
Out of the repertoire and much, much, much more difficult. And there isn't another step. There isn't another significant piece that practices that. Even though that's book 5, you've got 3 more books to go before they're sort of cooked.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not really that different with the double stopping that we have. Sites 3, Bach, Gavottes. They're really hard double stops in La Folia. And then we don't really get, you know, there is no big chordal piece. And I always thought it was very weird that this one is in book 8, but simplified like that. Not. I can't remember the original version, but you know, I wonder if they'll put that back in when they get to book 8 in the revised copies.
Revised things.
Yeah. Anyway, so food for thought. But so we have to pick out, as you approach book 5 with your students, I think it's a very helpful kind of approach to take, that like, okay, this is kind of it. You've got to learn this and keep refining it. Yeah. So either you keep refining it in that one piece, or you refine it, you find other pieces, and this is why there's this massive fall off here. I don't know about in Holland, but book 4, most teachers teach 1 to 3 exactly how it is in the books. Book 4, their students grind to a halt on the Sites concertos and the Vivaldi concerto, so they do a lot of other stuff like we did grade 5.
Yeah.
And it's also the point age-wise where they start to say, I need a piece of paper that shows that I can really play, so they want to take an exam, it's a good time to do it, you know. But lots of teachers will also teach all the pieces in book 5 like I have. 4. And then book 5, because there's another whole Vivaldi concerto, another slow movement of the Vivaldi, more Bach, 1 Weber piece, you know, and then the Bach double, a lot of teachers will teach bits of book 5 and then basically start to teach other pieces. Yeah. And then book 6 has 2 Handel sonatas in it. Yeah. Now for me, my approach to book 6, which I haven't taught very many times yet, is, okay, Handel sonatas, you go to the Wigmore Hall and you see the world's best violinists perform Handel sonatas from the music. Yeah. So therefore, we are not going to insult our pianists by learning it off by heart and letting them sit there and read the music. And you are such good sight readers by then, and such good players by then, that I think that Handel sonatas should be like a week on each movement so that they can play through it with the music and then we move on. Because I'm just not interested in having them learn that many notes. Right. And also they're often like 14, 15, they want to play, you know, the boy Paganini and fireworks. Yeah. And I don't want to stop them. So, so you know, you're fantastically well supported in Suzuki by the repertoire in the first 4 books, and then you kind of are set adrift a little bit. So I think that's worth thinking about and being aware of and having a plan to tackle. Yeah. And one plan is, right, well, at the end of book 5 I send my students off to learn with someone else, and you know, that's often a very good point for them to go traditional because they can do everything. Yes. Suzuki doesn't actually have that much left to offer as compared with traditional method, whereas early on has a lot over traditional teachers. Yeah. So.
Could you give me some spiccato tricks?
Apart from all the ones we've just done. Yes, what do you mean?
I mean, to prepare my students and to be honest, to prepare myself for country dance.
Yes. I was going to say, can you play country dance yet?
By heart, no. Well, I can try.
So, let's do long ago. I'm just going to find out if my lovely guests are living, because Barbara's going back home this afternoon. You look like you're getting ready to go. Okay. Okay. Just come and get me. Okay? Okay, let's play Long Ago Lifted. There's actually only 2 lifts. 1, 2 in each one. Okay, make sure you're just on the edge of going a bit too high in your bow. You'll probably find it a bit easier if you curtail your down bows a bit more. And more vertical. That's it. And careful of bobbing your violin along with your bow.
Am I using... I use my hands for this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your wrist, really. Lift, lift. Yeah. We're not doing this each time.
Not
That
this.
is in the string spiccato. Staccato, sorry. Good. So something that you can do to prepare for that is literally just not really retakes, but sort of like a tick. You know, like a cha-ching. And just practice coming up. That's it. And then let's try 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're landing first. Land.
Oh.
Land. 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 Very nice. Yeah. Good. And that is just to get the feeling of rising up, because you don't want to train your students to do staccato like this, like we were talking about with Kai yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the easiest way to make your bow bounce is to hit the balance point on that only bow that comes from the air and goes back to the air.
Yeah.
So more vertical and less horizontal.
That's the same. That's not. It's the same, isn't it? More vertical and less horizontal.
Well, yes, you can't. No, you could do more vertical with more horizontal. That's just more up. Why don't we just... And one of the problems that is showing itself, which is also what happens, is how you handle the down bow, even though it's not part of the up bow spiccato. It's different from a normal down bow because we're high. And depending on the speed of how you're playing, that might be an elbow down bow. Or a long.
Yeah.
bow was cut, he was doing 9.
He was doing more, I think.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And obviously,
Fantastic.
as you get closer to the heel, there is more finger.
Yeah.
Because the natural bounce of the bow is not helping so much. You have, as you increase the number of up bows you're adding in, you have to increase the speed. Otherwise, by that time, you'll be really chaotic.
Yeah.
And the height reduces.
Yes, that makes sense.
So 3 things change as you refine the technique.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Great.
Good.
Good. Let's put that bit to bed. I'm going to go say goodbye, and then we'll do book 5. Yeah? Good. I might just change this video